Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please join Laurie Taylor in the singing of our national anthem, and please remain standing for the invocation, which will be offered this morning by Reverend Anne-Marie Jones.
Please join me. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Reverend Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I'm a little bit ahead of the game. I'm thanking you in advance. I will thank you afterwards also.
Congratulations, everyone, and thank you for having me. Today's a very special day. It's the first day to your future. And now for our invocation. Creator God, it is with grateful hearts that we gather here this morning. Be with us and among us at this convocation. Help us to celebrate the accomplishments of these students who are graduating. Be with them and their family and friends as they share in the joy of achievement. Let us remember and give thanks for the commitment and dedication of staff, faculty, administration, and the governors of this college. Bless these proceedings and instill in each of us that spirit which alone brings goodness, truth, and wisdom to our world. Creator of all, hear us and be with us now in all we do.
This time, thank you, Reverend Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Loyalist College of Applied Arts and Technology Convocation. My name is John McMahon, and as Vice President Academic, I'd like to again say welcome this morning. Before we begin, I would ask that you check to ensure your phones and other electronic devices are turned off until the conclusion of the ceremony. As well, in the event of a fire alarm, your exit routes are located behind me, through the doors on my left, and the doors at the back of the auditorium. Follow the exit signs out of the college. Once outside, please proceed to move away from the building. This morning, we are recognizing graduates of the School of Health and Human Studies. Interpreting this morning's ceremony is Heidi Taus. Today's convocation ceremony will also be simulcast in the Student Center, the Shark Tank, located downstairs on the first floor. I would remind graduates that they are to return to their seats once they have received their diplomas or certificates until convocation is completed as a courtesy to others. We understand that some of you may wish to take a picture of your graduate at this eventful moment. If you do, I ask that at the appropriate time you go by way of the back of the hall, down the side aisle to your right, and wait in the alcove on this side of the wall so that you are not obstructing the view of other members of the audience. It is now my pleasure to introduce Tamara Kleinschmidt, Chair of the Board of Governors, who will officially open convocation.
Thank you very much, John.
I declare the 47th Convocation of Loyalist College officially opened. On behalf of the Board of Governors, it is my privilege to welcome you to this day of celebration and extend a special welcome to our distinguished guest of honor, Rodney Skinkle. And to you, our graduates, the Loyalist College class of 2014. This day is a day set aside to pause and to recognize and appreciate your accomplishments. Today is a day of beginnings for all of you. I wish to pass on one small piece of wisdom that has served me well since I sat at my own convocation many, many years ago. The piece of wisdom I would like to share is to encourage you to take risks. In my personal and professional life, I have gained much from always taking a step forward rather than taking a step back. Early on, as a young adult, I took a step forward and agreed to follow my husband through a 27-year military career. It was a risk. I was far away from home, friends, and family, but I found benefits to this adventure and that I was now a part of. I was able to experience Canada from coast to coast, and not simply through the lens of sightseeing, but to truly live as part of each of the 7 communities we lived in during that time. This experience also took me outside Canada, where I truly gained an appreciation for how wonderful it is to be Canadian. The richness of all of these experiences was the result of my willingness to take a risk. In my professional life, my ability to step forward, to take a risk, has guided me towards some amazing experiences. From the excitement of helping people as a paramedic, to a luncheon with then Governor General Michael Jean, to supporting homeless women and children in an emergency shelter. All of these experiences are a result of taking a risk. Indeed, even my standing here today, addressing you as the chair of the Board of Governors for Loyalist College, is the result of taking a risk and a step forward. What has allowed me to take risks is not the lack of fear or any extraordinary amount of courage, but my ability to accept the word no. When faced with options or opportunities, the very worst outcome is quite simply the word no. We pay far too much attention to the fear of hearing no, and we reflect on it as a personal judgment. I believe no is simply a part of the process of moving forward. Become comfortable with the word no, appreciate it, and indeed feel inspired by it. So as you take this day to pause and recognize your accomplishments, think of your first step into Loyalist College and what you have gained from taking the risk. And think now of the first step you will take up onto this stage to receive your diploma or certificate, and all of the wonderful possibilities this risk now provides you with. I'd like to say congratulations to each of you, the graduates of 2014. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Kleinschmidt. I would now like to call upon President Piercy, who will address the graduates and introduce our speaker for today. President Piercy.
Thank you very much, John. I'd like to add my words of welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, you're participating in a debut. This beautiful dining hall, which used to be known as the cafeteria, as a gift from our students and our student government. And this is the first time we've held our convocation in here. We want to keep it on campus, so we may have a few little different chuckles as we finalize things, so we ask for your patience with that. It's a wonderful, wonderful new part of the college. Chair Kleinschmidt, Mr. Skinkle, Reverend Jones, members of the board, distinguished guests, Loyalist colleagues, graduating class of 2014, family and friends, good morning and welcome. We have many wonderful special guests with us today, as at all convocations, but I'm going to take a moment with your indulgence to mention 2 very special colleagues to me who are joining us this morning. I recently concluded an appointment as Honorary Colonel of 8 Air Communication and Control Squadron at CFB Trenton after 4.5 years of having that privilege. The Gypsies, as they are affectionately known, are a unit of highly skilled men and women who can set up and provide air traffic control and an airfield for a networked airfield pretty well anywhere where there's solid ground on the planet, and I'm sure they'd tell me maybe even a few places where it's not so solid. Whether it's on a chaotic airfield in Haiti in support of a humanitarian mission, or 750 kilometers south of the North Pole at Canadian Forces Station Alert. They are exceptional people who often have to leave their families on very short notice to perform their important work. Representing the unit this morning with us are my, until very recently, commanding officer, Major Jeff Zumlansky, and Master Warrant Officer Kevin Murphy. I know, I'm just gonna, thank you, I'm gonna ask you to do that again in a minute. I know there are many in today's audience who are members, current or past, of the Canadian Forces, who have friends or family members who are. And I'm going to ask my colleagues to stand, and I'd ask you all to please join me in showing our appreciation for all these wonderful individuals in the Canadian Forces and the important work they do every day for us and for Canada. Thank you so much. Convocation is the ultimate celebration in the life of Loyalist College. We look forward to it all year, as we know the graduates have. Successful convocations are the result of the efforts and careful preparation of many members of the college, who all take great pride in their roles in preparing the campus. I want to give special thanks to our Director of Enrollment Services and Registrar, Laura Nauman, and her team, Elaine Wilkinson and Patricia Storing of my office, and Director of Facility Services, Kirk Fleming, and his team, who have worked diligently for the last number of weeks to make our campus shine inside and out for your celebration today. They have made very important contributions, as have many members. All members of the college family look forward to these wonderful ceremonies. As I considered what thoughts I most wanted to share with you this morning, one of the things that occurred to me was the fact that so many people in society today lament the fact that there are no more heroes. And we just recognized a number of our heroes in the Canadian Forces. But I also thought about how untrue that is for me personally, because graduating students, as you head out into the life ahead of you, you and the more than 35,000 Loyalist graduates who have gone ahead of you are my heroes. Loyalist graduates are making life better for people, their communities, their organizations every day. And I'm just going to share a few examples with you. Loyalist College's first registered student, Charles Benson. Charlie is student number 001 at Loyalist. Charles, after graduation, of course, worked at Loyalist, mostly directly supporting students for 33 years until retiring a few years ago. Charlie's typical of many of our grads. He chose to stay in this community, making many contributions to young people's lives, leading delegations each year to the United Nations, and giving back to his community in many ways through leadership and active participation in things such as community policing and many others. Our guest speaker today, another example, Rod Skinkle, whose firm Academica plays a leading role in post-secondary research and policy development across Canada. And you'll hear more about Rod, of course, in a few moments. I'd like to mention some other graduates, and I just picked a few examples. I know you can all add to this list. Photojournalism graduates Farzana Wahidi and Lana Slazik, who together published a powerful book titled Forsaken about women and children in Afghanistan, and who continue to work fearlessly to bring light to challenging international issues. Television grad, CTV Africa correspondent Martin Seemungle, who covered the Nairobi Mall bombing story earlier this year, among many other important stories Martin has covered in his career. Nursing graduate Joy Peacock, Executive Director of the Yukon Registered Nurses Association, will become the Executive Director of the Association of Registered Nurses in BC this summer. Technology grad Reg Pearson, who has had a distinguished career in public service, including his current post as Ontario Assistant Deputy Minister of Labour. Architecture graduate Mark Beckler, who continued his studies and has been chosen one of 6 founding faculty members of the new School of Architecture at Laurentian University, and all the other early childhood educators, outstanding chefs, health sciences and technical professionals, policing and public safety specialists, entrepreneurs who started out as Loyalist and Actis members, so many Loyalist connections, improving life in businesses, social organizations, and communities across Ontario, across Canada, and internationally. And graduating class of 2014, I am confident that in a few years, a very few, I'm sure, when I read this list, many of your names will be there. When I think of examples, your names will come to mind. Members of the graduating class, today you will be officially awarded your certificate or diploma. My heartfelt congratulations to each of you. You did it. But always, it's important to remember that you have not accomplished this milestone, the very important milestone in your life, the attainment of a post-secondary credential, all on your own. Look around, there as they always have been, are your parents, dedicated Loyalist professors and staff, significant others, children, relatives, and friends. Graduates, I'm going to ask you to get up. The graduating students, please join me in giving these wonderful supporters a standing ovation. I know you know they deserve it. Please stand up, graduates. Thank you. You can be seated again. We are all so proud of you, our graduates, and we're here to share your celebration and, of course, to wish you continuing success as Loyalist graduates. You're joining a family today, just as you did when you first came through Loyalist doors. As you head off into your next life adventure, we say, as your family will say to you, keep in touch. To welcome you to the Loyalist Alumni family, representatives of our Alumni Association are here today to congratulate you as you leave the stage. Our outstanding alumni publication, and we will find your address, is called Lasting Connections. I'm confident that you will find, as I have found as a Loyalist grad, that your Loyalist connections are links which will endure and strengthen throughout your personal and professional lives. And last but not least, feel proud of the awesome potential of the life that lies ahead of you. By earning a post-secondary credential, you've armed yourself with a powerful tool for making a significant difference. We have the privilege of living in this wonderful country with all of its freedoms and opportunities, and we each have a responsibility to try to make society better through our involvement and contributions. With all the challenges the world faces today in the environment, in the economy, in every arena, your skills and talents are needed more than ever. Get involved, keep inspiring us and challenging us, and keep your skills sharp by becoming a lifelong learner. We will welcome you back at any time. In closing, again, congratulations. We are so very proud of you, and you should feel deep and well-earned pride in yourself. Each and every one of you has changed Loyalists through your time here, and in turn, each of you has changed a great deal. With that growth facilitated and cheered on by our exceptional faculty and staff, their experience and skill, wisdom, and deep commitment to your learning and success were critical. Today, you will be awarded the well-earned credential, which is the tangible evidence of that achievement. The less tangible but just as important evidence will be the change you make in the world. You know that you're ready for it. Go out and go after it. Enjoy every minute of this very, special day on behalf of the entire Loyalist community. Best wishes for a bright, happy, and rewarding future. Excuse me. It is now my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for this morning, Rodney Skinkle. Rodney Skinkle is President and CEO of Academica Group, Inc., a top provider of higher education policy, consumer research, and enrollment consulting. A 1979 Loyalist College behavioral science graduate, Rod has pioneered the development of research tools and studies for Canadian post-secondary institutions. In addition, he leads a thriving market and social policy research division focused on higher education accessibility, student success, education, and career goals development. Before co-founding Academica, Mr. Skinkle was coordinator of research for student services at Western University and founded Acumen Research Group, Inc. He has been an invited guest expert addressing trends in higher education for Canada AM, CBC, the Conference Board of Canada, the Higher Education Quality Board of Ontario, to name a few. Mr. Skinkle has also published numerous studies in scholarly journals and presents his research to a wide range of policy and government groups. In addition to his Loyalist College diploma in behavioral science, Rod holds an honors degree in psychology from Waterloo and a master's degree in applied social research from the University of Saskatchewan. In 2013, Rod was nominated by Loyalist College for the Premier's Award for Ontario College graduates. When not at the office, Rod tells us he has a passion for the open road on his motorcycle and enjoys the serenity of the wilderness for camping and fishing. And Rod is joined this morning. We're delighted to have with us his wife Anne, his brother Ken, and aunt and uncle Eva and Ron Law. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest speaker for this morning, a distinguished Canadian and Loyalist alumnus, Mr. Rodney Skinkle.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, President Piercy, members of the Board of Governors, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, proud families, and especially you, the graduates. If you're wearing a gown today, I'm talking to you specifically. I'm truly honored to be invited to speak to you. This is your day, after all. It's all about you today. And so I felt it was a kind of a responsibility as well to try to provide you with some value in my remarks. And so a friend, a highly regarded colleague and a friend of mine said, no, Rod, it's an opportunity. Think of it as an opportunity. And I realized, of course, it is an opportunity. And interestingly, this is sort of like all of life, isn't it? Life hands us challenges, hands us responsibilities. We take the responsibility to assign ourselves choice and action. And so my opportunity this morning was to try to provide you with some observations from my own journey over to you. Hopefully, they may be of some use to you someday. Put them in your back pocket. Not likely today, but maybe someday. I have specifically a half dozen such observations I want to share with you. But before I do, I need to provide you with a bit of context that I think will help you make more use of the information. I sat where you sat some 35 years ago. I am part of that baby boom generation. There's a whole lot of us in the room, I see. We came on like gangbusters, and we thought we were all that and more. And perhaps because there were so many of us, I don't know, proportionally, perhaps because of the time, the place, interesting history, historically, it was a unique circumstance. But we saw a lot of change as well during our time. And that change involved a great deal of sort of, especially in the last 20 years, involved a good deal of instability in terms of the economy and instability in terms of our employment for a great many of us. But that was then, and this is now, and you are what the sociologists call Gen Y, Generation Y. You're in a very different place now. The world is a very different place now. It's smaller. It's more integrated. You are connected like never before, like no generation before you. And you will live in a world where the pace of change will dwarf even the level of change that we saw, which in turn dwarf the level of change that our parents saw. You will face challenges, of course, that we can't even imagine yet, as a generation and as individuals. But here's the rub. Here comes the observation from which the rest of my remarks will flow. This is the really important difference, I think, between my generation and yours. In the last 40, 50 years, information was a tremendous advantage. People hoarded information. Education was part of that. Educated people had an advantage over uneducated in the sense that they had more information. And more importantly, they had the knowledge of how to gain more knowledge. But you emerge as part of the leading edge of Generation Y into one of the first generations that will be among you will be 70% with post-secondary education credentials. And not only that, but information isn't what it once was. Information now is a mouse click, a Google search away. So it's not that information isn't important, of course it is. It's not that your credentials aren't important, of course they are. But they're table stakes now. It's what the philosophers like to call a necessary but not sufficient condition for success. So information was, in a sense, and knowledge was high-value currency during my time. I believe that the high-value currency for your time is going to be problem solving. And I don't know any other more simple and direct way to put it. Problem solving, now what's in short supply is insight and formation of solutions to many of the kinds of challenges that President Piercy actually outlined for you. Problem solving is the new currency of demand. The skills and attributes of problem solving are such things as creativity, innovation, and collaboration. Yes, collaboration. Don't think you have to do it alone. So what you ask, does this have to do with you? You're going into perhaps health sciences, policing, or social work. The organizations that you're going to be joining face challenges as never before. How will we care for the largest proportion of seniors in our history? And I want you to get to work on that one quickly. How do we build a society that not only values diversity, but actually thrives on it? Because diversity is one of Canada's great assets, and this will only become truer as the world gets smaller and smaller. How do we meet the costs of health care and integrate our friends who suffer from mental illness? These are community challenges, and these are global challenges, but they're going to affect you directly in the organizations you go to work for. But I say where there's challenge and change, there's opportunity, every time. And I will offer you just a half dozen observations from my own experience that I think may be useful to you along your journey. Several are things you may have to unlearn, actually. So here we go. Number one, be an entrepreneur. Now, I know we think of entrepreneur in business terms, but let's ask ourselves, what is an entrepreneur really? Someone who identified a problem or a need, figured out a solution, and then executed. As I said, and as some of the earlier speakers noted, you're going into organizations that face challenges more challenges than they've ever faced in the past. So if you're a part of the problem solving, if you're a part of the solution, you will be in demand, and you will prosper. What follows are just more connected thoughts that I believe are the kinds of attitudes and behaviors of entrepreneurial thinking that I think may benefit you personally. So number two, risk it. It's interesting, Tamara and I didn't coordinate these remarks. Risk it. You know how Nike says, just do it? I say, just risk it. And while I'm not suggesting that you go out to the casino, nor am I suggesting that you throw caution and common sense to the wind, but what I will say is that there are very few genuine breakthroughs or problems solved without any level of risk. A very brief anecdote from my own experience I thought may be helpful. When I was about 38, 8 years into my career at the University of Western Ontario, I was downsized. I had two children, about 3 and 8 years old. When I got the news, I went back to my office, and I put my feet up on my desk, and I pulled out a thesaurus. We used paper thesaurus back then. And I started leafing through it in order to come up with the name of the company that I would start when I walked out the door. I had a small severance package, and I risked it all on that. But by then, you see, I had already started to understand what kinds of strengths and weaknesses the institutions, the colleges and universities had. So I also understood the kind of information that they needed. And so I fashioned my enterprise around the problem solving to assist those institutions with problem solving. That company morphed into the company that I have today, some 20 years later. So risk it. Number three, fail it. Fail often and fail thee well. You see, that's obviously part of risk. You won't risk if you're afraid of failure. And this is another thing you may need to unlearn. Society, schools, our culture has taught us the wrong way to think about failure. In business and in research, failure is how you learn. And it's so common, in fact, that there's a common expression. It goes like this: ready, fire, aim. Ready, fire, aim. It means that in a fast-paced world where there's breaking developments all the time, you can't wait to get everything perfect. Instead, you get ready, you launch, and you tweak and fine-tune as you go along. And as young people, if you think about it, you've got a good corollary for this. All the social media, all the video games that you grew up on, if you think about it, they were all launched and then perfected. The Facebooks, the Googles, they were perfected as they went along with feedback from you, the users. So think of failure differently and take it forward with you into your new careers. Number 4, resist sameness. Seek diversity. It's another thing you see that we tend to be socialized to do. It's a rather unconscious process, right? We tend to seek out those who are just like ourselves. It makes us feel good, right? They echo our thoughts and they echo our ideals and our beliefs. That may have served you well in the past. My advice to you is that in your careers, it will not serve you well. Rather, seek out people who are different from you, culturally, politically, age, in terms of their values and belief systems even. Seek out differences. Why? Because it helps you become a better problem solver, plain and simple. It helps you question your assumptions. It helps you broaden your perspective. And those are the things that we need. Those are the things that your organizations need. So I say resist sameness. Number 5, seek out mentors. Mentors are people who blaze the trail ahead of you. You don't have to follow in their trail, and you won't. But trust me, you can learn a lot from what they do and what they have done. Choose wisely, though. Be observant, and watch for those who are the positive ones, not the complainers. Life's too short. Watch for those who tend to be positive and tend to be part of the solutions. And choose those as mentors. I'll give you one more example from my own personal experience. After I started my business, I was sitting home one night watching television. I was watching a business program because I knew absolutely nothing about business, right? I had been a social worker and a researcher. So I'm watching the business program, and the host was interviewing this woman. She seemed very bright and articulate. Her name was Joan Payunin. And the reason he was interviewing her is that her and a colleague, a partner of hers, had written a book called The Butterfly Customer. It was simply about how our customers are changing, and businesses needed to change to adapt. And so I thought to myself, customer loyalty, I could measure that. And so I called her up. It took a while because we had no Facebook. I had to track her down. And so I got her on the phone, and she heard me out. And it turned out, interestingly, that she was blazing down the 401 in her Audi Quattro talking to me on a cell phone, I later learned, or not a cell phone, rather a car phone, because we didn't have cell phones, which would have been about the size of a shoebox. And here's this entrepreneurial woman, and she hears me out, and she says to me, I don't need any researchers right now, but I might. And she said, if I call you, you need to be ready. I said, okay. I hung up. 4 or 5 months go by, phone rings. It's Joan Payunin, I have 2 questions for you. It's okay, shoot. Are you still in business? Yes. Have you run focus groups before? Yes. Okay, I need you in Toronto, 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to fax you the focus group discussion guides. 7 o'clock, we're going to be running the groups. I'll talk to you just before the sessions. Turned out those sessions were with a company called Bell Emergis, which was the think tank division of Bell Canada at the time. And they were product testing these new product concepts to be used and potentially used in homes, all based on this evolving technology called the internet. And what I have to say about the mentorship is that I went on to work with Joan Payunin and her partner Susan O'Dell. These 2 women changed my life. They taught me more about business than anybody since, or anybody before or since. These are business women, mind you, not men. And so these women brought fun and interest and just plain excitement into my business and changed the course of that business. So seek out mentors. Number 6, and I save this to last because I think it's one of the most important, be adaptable. Try to embrace change. It's one of the more challenging things as you go along in your careers. It's one of the brightest minds of all time, in my opinion, Charles Darwin, with his discovery of the theory of evolution, or the discovery of evolution, I should say. From him we learned it's not the strongest that survive. It's not even the smartest that survive. It is actually the most adaptable. I said at the outset, your life will be defined in large measure by change, more change than any generation before you. I don't say that all change is good, but I do say that the only constant in the universe is change. Think about that one. In your professional careers, you will encounter many resistors of change. People tend to fear that which is unknown to them. That's understandable. It's human nature. But change will happen no matter your outlook, and it will happen no matter your attitude and your behaviors. So it's best to try to be objective and attempt to understand what's good and bad about the change and to be part of that change going forward instead of just resisting. So those are my 6 best sort of observations that I think were useful in my life. Over to you. In closing, today you turn the page. It's not a new book. In fact, it's a new chapter. There will be good chapters, and there will be some challenging ones. You can't look ahead and see how this book ends. And trust me, you don't want to, because the joy is in the journey. And I really mean that. I'm very proud of my education at Loyalist College, which provided me with the confidence and the tools to set me off on my own ongoing journey. And I'm proud to be an alum alongside all of you. Today is your day, and now is your time. Thank you.
I would like to thank Rodney Skinkle for joining us on this special occasion and delivering such a memorable address to the graduating class of 2014. I am pleased to announce that the Board of Governors, by virtue of the authority vested in it, has authorized me to award Rodney Skinkle the highest tribute of Loyalist College, an honorary diploma in applied arts, in recognition of his outstanding contributions to post-secondary education research and progress in Canada as co-founder, president, and CEO of Academica Group Incorporated. Loyalist College is privileged to have Rodney Skinkle address Convocation 2014 and accordingly pays him its highest academic tribute.
I would now invite Mr. Hugh O'Neill and Mr. Rodney Skinkle to join me on the stage, please. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1998, the Board of Governors of Loyalist College approved the establishment of the Hugh P. O'Neill Outstanding Alumni Award in recognition of Mr. O'Neill's leadership as chair of the college's Foundations for the New Millennium campaign. The award is intended to recognize a graduate of Loyalist College who has made an exceptional contribution to his or her community through professional, community leadership, or through volunteer service. This year, I am very pleased to announce that the recipient of the Outstanding Alumni Award is Mr. Rodney Skinkle, a 1979 graduate of the Behavioral Science program. I'm going to repeat some of Rod's achievements. Rodney Skinkle is president and CEO of the Academica Group Incorporated. With his vision and foresight, the company has become a leading provider of higher education policy, consumer research, and enrollment consulting with many of Canada's leading universities and colleges coast to coast and increasingly internationally. He is the founder of the largest ongoing syndicated study of higher education consumers, the University College Applicant Study, affectionately known as UCAS. It is an honor to recognize Loyalist graduate Rodney Skinkle today for his exceptional career success and his contributions to the field of post-secondary education and I would ask Mr. O'Neill to present him with the Hugh P. O'Neill Outstanding Alumni Award. Congratulations, Rodney.
I would now like to invite Mr. Richard Beer, President of the Loyalist College Alumni Association, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, John. Good morning. I'm very pleased to be here along with some of my fellow Alumni Association executive members. We are here to welcome you today as part of the alumni family and to congratulate you on your achievements. We know that you will succeed in your career paths you have chosen, with the strong foundation provided by your program at Loyalist College. As you leave the stage, we will be presenting you with a small memento on behalf of the association. And as college president has said, the Loyalist alumni family now numbers over 35,000. As graduates, you will receive the Lasting Connections publication, as well as regular monthly e-letters from your alma mater, to keep you up to date with news from the college and provide you with information about the benefits available to you, ongoing access to career and alumni services, and various affinity programs. Please remember to provide updated contact information whenever you move. You can always contact the alumni office through loyalistcollege.com. Again, on behalf of Loyalist alumni, congratulations and all the best in your future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the formal part of our ceremony where the certificates, diplomas, and advanced diplomas and awards will be presented. President Piercy, it is my privilege to report to you that the candidates here assembled have qualified in all respects for certificates, diplomas, and advanced diplomas by successfully completing curricula offered by the School of Health and Human Studies at Loyalist College. They have been recommended by the faculty to be awarded certificates or diplomas in recognition of their academic accomplishments.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Governors of Loyalist College, I do hereby confer on our graduates their respective Ontario College certificates, diplomas, and advanced diplomas with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
President Piercy, on behalf of the graduates not present, I request that you confer their certificates, diplomas, and advanced diplomas in absentia.
I so do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Brooks Cathcart, Dean of the School of Health and Human Studies, will oversee the conferring of diplomas. During the next part of the program, we will be presenting the graduates who will proceed across the stage to receive congratulations from the President and a member of the Board of Governors. In order that we can clearly hear everyone's name, we ask your cooperation in withholding your applause until each group has been presented. Those taking photographs are asked to use the designated area to the left of the stage. It's this area. I would like to introduce Dean Karen Brooks Cathcart.
Good morning. Governor Bonnin-Twitty, it's my pleasure to present the recipients of Ontario College certificates, diplomas, and awards in personal support worker, Fitness and Health Promotion, and Recreation and Leisure Services. Ontario College certificates for the Personal Support Worker Program. Bobby Archer. Aaron Baldwin, Dean's List. Christina Boudreau. Nicholas Devendorf. Susan Grow. Sherry Hannafin. Lori Eisner, Dean's List. Lori is the recipient of the Local 175 UFCW Health Office and Professional Employees Award for proficiency in studies and clinical practice. Penny Joyce, Dean's List. Kyla King. Shannon Lee, Dean's List. Victoria Lapine. Natasha Lloyd. Victoria Moore, Dean's List. Leanna Morton, Dean's List. Alexandra Park, Dean's List. Shelley Paul. Crystal Sargentson, Dean's List. Crystal is the recipient of the Barbara Siebert Floyd Award for Academic Achievement in the Personal Support Worker Program. Brittany Schell, Dean's List. Melissa Shawnar. Cheyenne Snyder, Dean's List. Mackenzie Tripp. Emily Van Egmond, Dean's List. Lisa Walker. Caitlin Wells. Rebecca Woodward. Congratulations to our graduates of the Personal Support Worker Program. Ontario College Diploma, Fitness and Health Promotion. Amy Batarla, Dean's List. Megan Conchi, Dean's List. Megan is the recipient of the Fitness and Health Promotion Faculty Award presented for outstanding academic achievement in the Fitness and Health Promotion Program. Brittany Fox, Dean's List. Laura McGregor, Dean's List. Somesh Rawat. Amber Ritwidge, Dean's List. Leroy Rollins, Dean's List. Congratulations to graduates of the Fitness and Health Promotion Program. Recreation and Leisure Services graduates, Holly Bulls. Adam Carefoot. Crystal Casabo. Dean's List. Taylor Dubow. Andrew Larcombe, Dean's List. Harrison Lenters, Dean's List. Joanne Lines, Dean's List. Dustin Nash. Raina Newcomb, Dean's List. Raina is the recipient of the Recreation and Leisure Services Faculty Award for outstanding academic achievement in the Recreation and Leisure Services program. Matthew Nolan. Alexandra Pope, Dean's List. Dylan Reed. congratulations to graduates of the Recreation and Leisure Services program. And thank you, Governor Bonnin-Twitty. Governor Smith, it is my pleasure to present the recipients of Ontario College Diplomas and Awards for Paramedic and Practical Nursing. Graduates of the Paramedic program, James Dockner, Dean's List. Brian Geffert, Dean's List. Brian is the recipient of the Hastings-Quinte Emergency Medical Services Award for Outstanding Academics in the Paramedic Diploma Program. Brandon Hartwick. Frederick Hull. Kenneth Jansen. John McNeil, Dean's List. Pavel Novak, Dean's List. Jason Richards. Jason is the recipient of the County of Lennox and Addington Ambulance and Emergency Services Award for a graduating student who has demonstrated the attribute of excellence in the practical component of the Paramedic Diploma program. Eva Treverton, Dean's List. Melissa Weaver, Dean's List. Melissa is the recipient of the Haliburton County Emergency Medical Services Award for a graduating student who has been recognized for most improvement on demonstrated skills in the Paramedic Diploma program. Congratulations to graduates of the Paramedic program. Graduates of the Practical Nursing program, Stephanie Adams. Kimberly Andrew, Dean's List. Ajwa Anawa. Anita Asari. Hannah Basso. Laura Bilodeau, Dean's List. Diana Bauma, Dean's List. Diana is the recipient of the Audrey I. Williams Practical Nursing Award for academic proficiency in the Practical Nursing program. Kimberly Brooks. Andrea Cameron. Nicole DeJong. Jesse Dowdle. Brittany Downey. Amanda Elliott. Jessica Frazier, Dean's List. Christine Howitt. Roxanne Hall. Roxanne is the recipient of the Local 175 UFCW Health Office and Professional Division Award for proficiency in studies and clinical practice in the practical nursing program. Andrew Ikonomu. Leah Job. Ariel Joyce. Kelsey Kring. Laura Lawless, Dean's List. Ashley McGilvery. Sarah McCauley, Dean's List. Shelby Mills, Dean's List. Cassandra Murphy. Jennifer Prevost. Elaine Reynolds. Elaine is the recipient of the Registered Practical Nurses Association of Ontario Award for overall excellence and strong leadership ability. Cassandra Robinson, Dean's List. Carla Sage, Dean's List. Carla is the recipient of the Audrey I. Williams Practical Nursing Award for academic proficiency in the practical nursing program. Deborah Sharp. Taylor Simpson, Dean's List. Sarah Spicer, Dean's List. Jessica Sweet. Christina Telewak, Dean's List. Christina is the recipient of the Practical Nursing Proficiency Award for Scholastic Achievement in the Practical Nursing Program donated by the Trent Valley Lodge Nursing Home. Julie Theobald. Krista Thompson, Dean's List. Crystal Townsend, Dean's List. Crystal is the recipient of the Practical Nursing Proficiency Award for Scholastic Achievement in the Practical Nursing Program, donated by the Quinney Healthcare Corporation Board of Directors. Amy Vanderway, Dean's List. Megan Wanamaker, Dean's List. Megan is the recipient of the Practical Nursing Proficiency Award for Scholastic Achievement in the Practical Nursing Program, donated by Elsevier Science Canada. Alicia Yowney. Congratulations to graduates of the Practical Nursing Program. And thank you, Governor Smith. Graduates of Human Studies programs, Ontario College Diploma, Developmental Services Worker. Governor Orrick, it is my pleasure to present the recipients of Ontario College Diplomas and Awards for Developmental Services Worker. Lee Armstrong, Dean's List. Don Belmar, Dean's List. Recipient of the Dale Coughlin Award for a student who has made a significant contribution in promoting self-advocacy, self-determination, inclusion, and participation in all aspects of community living. Lisa Bodden, Dean's List. Lisa is the recipient of the Faculty Union of Loyalist College Award for academics and college and community involvement. Jessica Caddick. Lindsay Cowan, Dean's List. Courtney Crane, Dean's List. Danielle Decker, Dean's List. Crystal DeMere, Dean's List. Lauren Donnelly, Dean's List. Megan Doucette, Dean's List. Megan is the recipient of the Bernard Heidinger Memorial Award for Proficiency and Leadership in the Developmental Services Worker Program. Jade Farrington, Dean's List. Megan Ferguson, Dean's List. Megan is the recipient of the Community Living Belleville and Area Award in partnership with McDougall Insurance and Financial for a graduating student who has completed a placement with Community Living Belleville and Area and who best exemplifies the philosophy of person-directed support. Desiree Flanagan. Kelly Forbes, Dean's List. Kelly is the recipient of the Carolyn Orrick Award for a student who portrays the ability to recognize and celebrate people's gifts. Lisa Gilmore, Dean's List. Rochelle Glenn. Rachel Harden. Candace Hennessy, Dean's List. Brennan Hines, Dean's List. Jasmine Hopper, Dean's List. Cassandra Horn, Dean's List. Brittany Irish. Sylvia Jones-Legault, Dean's List. Lynn Kazerwi, Dean's List. Emily McPherson. Emily is the recipient of the George Leacock Memorial Award presented to a graduate who demonstrates initiative and creativity in assisting individuals to achieve self-empowerment and independence. Karen McGilvery, Dean's List. Sarah McMeekin, Dean's List. Grace Midolo, Dean's List. Samantha Miles, Dean's List. Samantha is the recipient of the Eric Caulfield Award for demonstrated integrity, professionalism, and respect for people with handicaps. John Morrison, Dean's List. Courtney Nekoloff, Dean's List. Amanda O'Brien, Dean's List. Amanda is the recipient of the Quinte Vocational Support Services Award for providing training and support to persons who are employment disadvantaged and demonstrates employment equity. Galina Ovcharenko, Dean's List. Arkanaben Patel, Dean's List. Ruby Post, Dean's List. Natalie Ramsey, Dean's List. Marnie Reeds. Kristen Runyons, Dean's List. Kristen is the recipient of the Harry Culpers Award for demonstrating a high degree of commitment and dedication while maintaining a high academic standard and professional integrity. Courtney Smith, Dean's List. Courtney is the recipient of the Community Living Prince Edward Award for a graduate of the Loyalist College Developmental Services Program who best exemplifies the principles of social inclusion of people with intellectual disabilities. Wendy Van Horn, Dean's List. Audrey Ann Vickers. Kimberly Wager. Victoria Woods, Dean's List. Victoria is the recipient of the Carolyn Orrick Award for a student that portrays the ability to recognize and celebrate people's gifts. Congratulations to graduates of the Developmental Services Worker Program. And thank you, Governor Orrick. Governor Hagerman. It is my pleasure to present the recipients of the Ontario College Diplomas and Awards for Early Childhood Education. Manuela Amicucci, Dean's List. Alana Andrews. Caitlin Appleman. Marine Ashfaq, Dean's List. Deborah Barbie, Dean's List. Crystal Barink. Sarah Collins, Dean's List. Jamie Corky. Tanya Countryman. Courtney Davidson. Amanda Detler, Dean's List. Madeline Edwards. Darlene Elliott. Alicia Fowler, Dean's List. Brittany Guy, Dean's List. Brittany is the recipient of the Quinte Early Childhood Educators Award for congeniality and commitment to working with her peers. Melinda Handley, Dean's List. Leanne Joyce. My apologies. Radhika Kamraj. How close was I? Shaughnessy King, Dean's List. Susan King. Tamira King. Sherry LeBlanc. Yes, Sherry! Trinda Lowerson. Melody Matthews. Congratulations. Ken McDavitt, Dean's List. Well done. Charlotte Miller, Dean's List. Charlotte is the recipient of the Association for Early Childhood Education Belleville and District Branch Award for significant improvement in placement assignments. Samra Misra, Dean's List. Janine Mumford, Dean's List. Elisa Murray. Sucheta Naidu, Dean's List. Katie Norris, Dean's List. Megan Parley. Maria Pereira. Natasha Roblin, Dean's List. Yolanda Shea. Shruti Soman. Sarah Stearns. Haley Tanner. Ria Tombi. Deborah Van Oyen.
I know her.
Haley Boskamp. Genevieve White. Stacy Wiggins. Laura Young, Dean's List. Congratulations to graduates of the Early Childhood Education Program. And thank you, Governor Hagerman. Governor Wright, it is my pleasure to present the recipients of Ontario College diplomas and awards for the Social Services Worker Program. Natasha Aid, Dean's List. Jessica Allen, Dean's List. Stephanie Amodio, Dean's List. Lori Anderson, Dean's List. Lori is the recipient of the Bayfield Treatment Center's Award for a student who exhibits a strong interest and competence in youth residential care. Christine Balagosh, Dean's List. Cassandra Barber, Dean's List. Jessica Bassett, Dean's List. Courtney Bastian, Dean's List. Robin Beauchamp, Dean's List. Connor Bombachi. Cody Boyington, Dean's List. Kelly Briggs, Dean's List. Heather Brown. Dean's List. Jessica Culbertson, Dean's List. Rochelle Cusson, Dean's List. Catherine Daly, Dean's List. Alicia Downs, Dean's List. Alicia and Company. Alicia Drummond, Dean's List. Cassandra Elvis, Dean's List. Sophie Fontaine, Dean's List. Tiffany Ellen Fullerton. Sarah Gagnon, Dean's List. Connor Garrett, Dean's List. Connor is the recipient of the Youth Habilitation Quinte Incorporated Award for an outstanding student who has volunteered their services to our community. Megan Jenneru. Monica Heiser, Dean's List. Kristen Hart, Dean's List. Amber Hayes. Jamie Hitchcock, Dean's List. Jamie is the recipient of the United Way of Quinte Award for the Best All-Round Student in the Social Services Worker Program. Curtis Honey, Dean's List. Sierra Jackson. Heather Kingsley, Dean's List. Jessica Letourneau, Dean's List. Christine Lowry, Dean's List. Caitlin Lowry, Dean's List. Dina Mackey, Dean's List. Joshua Mitchell, Dean's List. Chantel Murphy, Dean's List. Anthony Parisi, Dean's List. Colleen Patterson, Dean's List. Chrissia Patterson, Dean's List. Derek Pattamore, Dean's List. Derek is the recipient of the Bayfield Treatment Center's Award for a student who exhibits a strong interest and competence in youth residential care. Jessica Powell, Dean's List. Courtney Reeves. Kaylee Riley. Jennifer Sagraff, Dean's List. Victoria Smith, Dean's List. Amber Lynn Spafford. Tegan Sparks, Dean's List. Lindsay Wilson, Dean's List. Tracy Roble, Dean's List. Samantha Zandbergen, Dean's List. Congratulations to graduates of the Social Services Worker Program. And thank you, Governor Wright. Governor Miracle. It is my pleasure to present the recipients of Ontario College Advanced Diplomas and Awards, the Child and Youth Worker Program. Kayla Adams, Dean's List. Megan Atherton. Melissa Bates, Dean's List. Melissa is a recipient of the Pioneer Award for highest academics in a 3-year program. Brittany Beckett, Dean's List. Brittany is the recipient of the United Way of Quinte Award for the Best All-Round Student in the Child and Youth Worker Program. Robert Bola, Dean's List. Kylie Com, Dean's List. Kayla Cloutier, Dean's List. Oh, sorry. Kayla Coles, Dean's List. Kelly Cooney, Dean's List. Caitlin Couts, Dean's List. Lindsay DeVouge, Dean's List. Mandy Dunlop, Dean's List. Amy Elliott, Dean's List. Kara Feely, Dean's List. Kristen Ferguson. Jessica Fish, Dean's List. Everett Flederis, Dean's List. Oh, I'm sorry. Avert Flederis, Dean's List. Jesselyn Foley, Dean's List. Matthew Gagliardi, Dean's List. Laura Lee Gordon. Emma Gunning, Dean's List. Amy Hall, Dean's List. Stephanie Howlett, Dean's List. Dana Heisen, Dean's List. Lillian Ketchum, Dean's List. Krista Klompmacher, Dean's List. Justin Lasich, Dean's List. Sarah Lawson. Emily Lowe, Dean's List. Emily is the recipient of the United Way of Quinte Award for the Best All-Round Student in the Child and Youth Worker Program. Erin McQuaby, Dean's List. Callie Mosley, Dean's List. Jessica Murphy. Jessica Pye, Dean's List. Christy Seabrook, Dean's List. Aruna Sharma, Dean's List. Tamara Spearing. Caitlin Stockton. Shannon Summers, Dean's List. Karen Thompson, Dean's List. Karen is the recipient of the Amanda Latham Award for a graduating student who has shown perseverance, patience, and courage in overcoming difficult and extenuating circumstances to complete their program. Tasha Tobin. Bobby Joe Vandenberg, Dean's List. Natalie Warren, Dean's List. Laura Zimmerman. Thank you, Governor Miracle. This concludes the conferring of diplomas and advanced diplomas for Human Studies programs.
Well, let's keep it going. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating all of the graduates of the class of 2014. Board Chair Tamara Kleinschmidt will now officially close convocation.
I just have about 10 or 15 more minutes of comments. No, I'm joking. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the staff from the Registrar's Office and Facility Services for their work preparing for convocation. I would also like to thank our string duo, Marion Stratton and Linda Mitty, and our piper, Charlie Orr. You are invited to join us for a reception in the Parrott Center immediately following the ceremony, and I declare the Convocation 2014 officially closed. I would ask that everyone please rise for the benediction and the singing of the Royal Anthem and remain standing for the recessional.
It is with great pleasure that I give the benediction. Creator of all humanity, may the destiny you have placed before us as educated women and men take root with us. May those of you who have graduated here today share your knowledge for the benefit of others and for our beautiful world. May your understanding of life be broadened and enriched. May your imagination be touched with new vision that ever sees the possibility of service and stewardship. Keep us from discouragement by providing a beacon of life and hope in even the darkest hours. And may the spirit that encompasses all faiths be with each one of you, guiding your hearts and minds and giving you courage and purpose on the journey ahead.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save